Hello, everybody, and welcome to our new episode, which is going to be based on Overview Textbook Series Grade 12. Our lesson today is about Module 3, Unit 8, Vocabulary. If you are interested in this lesson, and more precisely in watching a lesson about vocabulary, so you are kindly requested to keep watching our channel. Before the break, I'd like you to get ready. I will be more than happy to meet you after the break. See you then. Dear students, welcome back to our virtual Infinite Educational Program. As I have already said, today's lesson is about Module 3, Unit 8, Vocabulary. So as you can see here, our module is entitled Lifestyles, and our unit is about town and country. I guess that you have already seen such kind of topics with your teachers in class, and I'm sure that you have dealt with some questions related to the town and the country. Okay? Now, these questions deal with some of the characteristics and some of the advantages and disadvantages of living in towns or in countries. Some of these questions may include the following. Why do people move from the village to the city? Or it could be, what are the advantages and the disadvantages of living in cities? Now, in order to be able to express yourselves and answer the questions of your teachers, you need one of the most compelling elements of English language, which is vocabulary. That's why today we are going to deal with some new lexical items that you have already seen with your teachers. Let's start by having an idea about the first vocabulary item, which is almond. Almond is a countable noun, and as you can see here, it's a kind of flat nut with brown skin and which is always sweet. That's why it is always used in cakes. Let's have an example about this word. The top of the cake is covered with sliced, blanched almonds. The following word is depopulation, and as you can see here, we have this prefix de, which means lack of or the opposite. Depopulation means the process of reducing the number of people in an area. Now, to illustrate this more, let's have a look at the following example. Lack of job opportunities has led to the depopulation of many villages. This means that many villages have become empty. Now, let's move to the following word. The word is deserted, whose synonym is abandoned. Okay? And this is an example to illustrate the word. Lack of job opportunities in villages leads to deserted rural areas. Then we have the word export, which is an uncountable noun, which means the selling and sending out of goods or services to other countries. Let's have a look at the example. Kuwait is famous for its high-quality oil, which is produced mainly for export. The following word is an adjective. It is graduated, which means divided into different levels. Now, to illustrate this word, this is my example. The painting is based on its graduated levels of colors. Then we have this word, it's a noun, infrastructure. Infrastructure means the basic physical or organizational structures and facilities. For example, buildings, roads, and power supplies. This is an example to illustrate the word infrastructure. spending on infrastructure is a major government priority in Kuwait. The following word is overcrowding, which is a noun. And here we have the prefix over, which is more than necessary or too much. So overcrowding means the process of filling an area beyond what it is usual or comfortable. This is an example to show this word. People move to countryside to escape from the crowding, pollution, and tension of city life. Let's move to have a look at this verb. The verb is reverse, which means to make something the opposite of what it was. For example, moving from the country to the city has been reversed thanks to the new agricultural policy of the government. The following word is an adjective. It is rural, and rural means in, relating to, or characteristic of the countryside rather than the town. Now let's have a look at an illustration for the word rural. Rural depopulation is a major problem in modern countries. Now let's move to the following word, public services. It's a noun, which means a service that is run for the benefit of the general public. For example, the utilities, the emergency services, and public transportation. This is an example. There's a tendency to improve the quality in public services. The following word is an adjective, socioeconomic, which means relating to or concerned with the interaction of social and economic factors. Let's take an example. For example, poverty is a major socioeconomic problem that can be solved by education, of course. The following word is unemployment. Unemployment is an uncountable noun, which means the state of being jobless. For example, unemployment leads to many social problems. The following word is an adjective, vacant. Vacant means having no fixtures or furniture or inhabitants, which means empty. So vacant means empty. Now let's take an example to make the word vacant clearer for you. For example, only one seat is vacant. Join us, please. The following word is contentment. It's an uncountable noun, which means the state of being happy and satisfied. For example, we can say, my success has created a feeling of deep contentment in my parents' eyes. Now let's move to the following word, crown jewel. Crown jewel is a countable noun, which means the best or the most valuable thing that a person or place has, which is the most important thing or the most important thing in a person. For example, Burj Khalifa is the crown jewel of Dubai. Why? Because it is the tallest man-made structure in the world, which means the most important thing in Dubai. The following word is astounded. It's an adjective, which means shocked or greatly surprised. Let's take an example. Everybody was astounded by how much he has changed. Of course, this person, before he was very fat, now he is slim after having an adjustable gastric band procedure, after an operation. Let's have a look at this phrasal verb, bump into. Bump into means to meet by chance. Let's have an example. I wish I would bump into some old classmates when I go back home. So bump into means to meet by chance. Then we move to this adverb, densely. Densely means closely compacted in substance. Let's have an example. Manila, the capital of the Philippines, is the most densely populated city in the world, which is the most crowded. The following word is disturbance, which is a noun, which means the interruption of a settled and peaceful condition. Let's have an example. No disturbance, please. The baby is sleeping. Then we move to embarrassed, which is an adjective. It means feeling or showing shame. For example, the girl was embarrassed on how untidy her room was. The following is an idiom, far and wide. Far and wide means over a large area. For example, we can say during Hala February festival in Kuwait, people come from far and wide to enjoy the festivities. Then we have an uncountable noun, which is glamour. Glamour means an attractive and exciting quality. Let's have an example. Many people leave their villages attracted by the glamour of big cities, which means they are attracted by big cities. Then we have another idiom, which is hustle and bustle, which means activity or liveliness. For example, I can't stand the hustle and bustle of the marketplace because it is extremely crowded and noisy. The following word is a verb, which is to narrate. To narrate means to give a spoken or written account of. For example, Pip, who is the main character in Great Expectations, narrates the story. Then we have another idiom, odds and ends, which means bits and pieces. For example, he has left nothing in his flat, just a few odds and ends. Then we have an expression, and it's an occasion for me to speak about expressions, proverbs, and old sayings that native speakers resort to in order to make their language a little bit colorful. So pluck up the courage. To pluck up the courage means to make an effort, to do something that frightens one. For example, some shy students need to pluck up their courage to ask questions. Then we have this word, it's an adjective, tranquil. Tranquil means calm, free from disturbance. For example, Al-Wafra in Kuwait is a small, tranquil area where Kuwaitis like to spend their weekend. Then we have the word advantageous. Advantageous, it's an adjective, which means a condition or circumstance that puts one in a favorable or superior position. For example, I live in a very advantageous location, 2 minutes away from my school and very easy to reach the highway. Okay? Now, which means that it has a strategic position. Now we have the word leafy, which is an adjective, which means having or characterized by trees and bushes. For example, when we went to London, we lived in semi-detached homes with gardens in a leafy suburban area. Then we have another expression, make it your own. Make it your own means change something in your possession so that you reflect your personality and character, which means you add your touches or your magic touches. For example, have a look at the flat. We haven't made any separation yet, so that you can make it your own, so that you can change the way you like. Then we have this adjective, palatial. Palatial means resembling a palace in being spacious and splendid. For example, famous figures worldwide live in palatial, impressive houses, which are very attractive and most of the time are very expensive. The last word, which is an adjective, is picturesque. Picturesque means attractive, and this is my example. We always spend our summer holidays in a quiet fishing village with a picturesque harbor. Now, this is the end of my theoretical part, which is presenting new vocabulary. Now, let's move to the practical part, which is going to be about some of the questions that you encounter in your exams. Now, let's have a look at the types of questions that you may see. In vocabulary tasks, you will have 4 questions. The first one is called multiple choice, in which you are going to choose only one answer from A, B, C, or D. Or you may have a gap filling task in which you are going to fill in spaces with suitable or related words. Then we'll have sentence construction, in which you are given 4 or 5 words, okay, in order to put each word in a meaningful and correct sentence. The last task is word definition, in which you will have only one word, one underlined word in the sentence, in order to choose its definition among 4 choices, A, B, C, and D. Now, in your quiz, you will encounter only 2 types of questions. The first one is a multiple choice question, and then you will have one of these 2 tasks, whether you will have sentence construction or you will have word definition. On the other hand, in your exam, you will have only 2 types of questions. The first one is multiple choice, and the second is gap filling. So in your main exams, okay, you will not have sentence construction, nor will you have word definition. Let's start by having an idea about multiple choice question. Now, to deal with the multiple choice questions, consider the following tips, okay? Now, some recommendation that you have to stick to. The first one is cover up the options and try to anticipate, which means to think about and to suggest a correct answer. Then you have to check your anticipation by uncovering the options. Start with easy stems. Sometimes some sentences are easier than the others, so it's highly recommended that you start by the easiest questions. Check that you have answered all the questions, okay, before submitting your paper. Let's have practice 1. Now we will have 4 sentences, okay, which are going to be used as a multiple choice task. Choose the correct answer from A, B, C, and D. The earthquake has badly damaged the cities. Notice all the words or all the options are nouns. Disturbance, contentment, depopulation, infrastructure. Now your answer will be infrastructure. That's it. Very good. Now let's move to sentence number 2. Some areas need more care. Which kind of areas? Of course, they are rural areas. They need more care in order to keep people there and not leave to the cities. Sentence number 3. I'd love to do a parachute jump, but I can't. We have to choose one of these options, but I can't pluck up the courage because I am not courageous enough to do that. The last sentence, these remedial language exercises are designed on, so we have 2 indefinite articles, whether A or AN, and here mind your use of the vowels and the consonants. Scale of difficulty, okay? Let's move now to the answer. The answer is graduated. Good. Now let's deal with gap filling strategies. Now, in this task, you have to check the meaning and the part of speech of every word in the list. You have to decide whether the word you are using in this space is a noun or an adjective or an adverb or anything else. Read the part of each sentence carefully before and after the space to help you choose the right word. Start with the words you know and tick them off so you know which ones you have used. You have to cross them out. Don't trash. If you write a word in the wrong gap, then another word in the exercise may be wrong too. Look for grammatical clues or cues. Okay, you have to decide which part of speech the word belongs to. Check your answers carefully when you finish to be sure that you have not left any out by mistake. Now let's have a look at the examples. Now we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. Before, you have to decide on their parts of speech. For example, leafy is an adjective, reserved is a verb. It may be used in the past or in the past participle. Densely is an adverb. Make it your own is an expression, and bump into is a phrasal verb. This is very important. Let's answer question number 1. Now that you have won the race and I haven't, our situation are, here we have the word are, which is extremely important to find your answer. To find your answer, the answer is reversed, so the verb is used in the past participle in order to have the passive voice sentence. So cross the word and we move to the following word, the following sentence. Brazil is a wooded country. If you have a look at the sentence, I guess that it is full. Sentence is correct. So we need a word, okay, which will not change the meaning of the word, and if we don't use the word, the sentence remain and keep correct. It should be what? Brazil is a, very good, densely wooded country. We cross the word and we move. I have decorated the whole house except your bedroom. It's a good chance for you to, so we need here a verb. Why? Because we have the word to in order to get an infinitive. We have to choose between make it to your own or bump into. That's it, to make it your own. So cross the word and we move. My garden is so and pleasant. 2 important words here that may help you find the word. The first one is so, which is always followed by an adjective. And since we have and here followed by an adjective, it must be preceded by another adjective, which is leafy. Now let's move to task number 3, which is word definition. Practice 3. Choose the correct definition of each underlined word in each sentence. There are plans to relieve overcrowding in the city. So we have a word overcrowding, and here are the 4 definitions. Which one do you think is correct? Read them silently and decide on only one definition. That's it, very good. So overcrowding means the process of filling an area beyond what is usual or comfortable. The second sentence, some people are against the hustle and bustle of some wedding ceremonies. Hustle and bustle means what? Very good, activity and liveliness. Now, the last task is sentence construction. I'd like you to use the following words and expressions to make correct sentences. The first one is almond. You have to decide on the main parts of each correct sentence, which are subject, verb, and complement. For example, we say almond is a nut. Okay, this is a correct sentence. If you want to add something, you can say almond is a nut with brown skin. So this is a prepositional phrase. And we can add, for example, something else that tastes sweet. So we add a relative clause. So we moved from a simple sentence, almond is a nut, to a complex sentence with a relative clause, almond is a nut with brown skin that tastes sweet. Let's make a sentence with bump into. Again, we have to decide on the main parts of a sentence. For example, I bumped into many relatives. We can add, for example, yesterday I bumped into many relatives. And we can say, Yesterday, I bumped into many relatives in 360 Mall. At this point, our lesson is over. I hope that you have benefited from our lesson today, which was about introducing new vocabulary illustrated by some definitions, by some pictures, and by some sample examples. I wish you good luck in your future endeavors, and thank you for watching.